Hello, everybody. We're back.
Hey, everyone.
We're back, and we're here to talk Daredevil. But before we actually get into the Daredevil discussion, if you were with us on our last stream, I promised a couple card pack openings, and now I'm gonna do them. Been waiting.
Let's see, Zach.
Hours
Let's
to
see those
open
card
these.
packs, homie.
All right.
do it.
Let's see. First, all right. Already got this one, a Leia leader card. We've got Chopper Base. I already got that one too. Escort Skiff, Vigilant Honor Guards, Jedi Agitator, Alliance Dispatcher, Snow Speeder, Resilient. Oh, this is looking like a wash. Jawa Scavenger. Yeah, I'm thinking this is a wash. Open Fire Hollow. Ooh, not a great pack to start with, but we're going to the next. All right, let's see what's going on here. All right, well, we got a Grand Moff Tarkin leader card.
Nice.
It's an all right start.
I like that.
Don't have that card yet.
I like the look of that.
Dara, I don't think I have that. Fleet Lieutenant, got plenty of those. Tactical Advantage. Consular Security Force. I already see a hollow hyperspace card back there. I have a bunch of these already. All right. Don't think I have that one. Seventh Sister. All right, we got a Chewbacca hollow hyperspace. And you know what? For good measure, do them one more. I'm going one more, and then we'll get into the Daredevil talks.
Nice.
I'm kind of upset that I have to wait to sleeve those. We're going to open another Thrawn pack.
That's the best part, Zach.
I have so many packs over here. Hello, Mr. Warrior. Director Krennic. Already had that leader card. Dagobah Swamp. That's new. Okay, Cloud City Wingguard. Alright, Open Fire Hyperspace. That's pretty... I think I already have one of those. Force Choke, TIE Avenger, ATST Hollow. Alright. Not great. I think I'm...
Not good, not terrible.
I'm currently down 4 packs. I opened one right in between, so... I don't know. Not a great start.
Okay.
But let's get into the Daredevil discussion. Hello, everybody. We are here to... First of all, we just came off a 5-hour stream where we were discussing the Avengers casting. I still haven't fixed this background, so I have to apologize for that. We'll get that fixed next week, though. We were just discussing all of the Avengers casting. We have an entire 5-hour stream if you wanted to go back and watch that. I'm sure we'll be talking about it from time to time in this video, though.
Oh, yeah, definitely. That's too big.
I need my
It's...
desk.
Yeah, of course. It's too big not to talk about it. Zach, your camera.
I got it.
What the fuck just happened?
My tripod was caught underneath the desk.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
It just crunched. I was like, did you break something, dude?
No, it's all right.
Cool.
Yeah, everything's good.
Fuck. That looked like something was gonna explode there, I'm gonna be honest.
You know what? It's a good
dude.
thing I didn't have any food or drinks on my desk. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, definitely a good thing.
God damn, I can't believe that thing was holding it up, though.
Oh, fuck. Oh, God.
All right.
Okay.
Clearly, I need to go to
All right.
sleep after this stream.
A little bit. What time did you wake up, Eastern time?
8:30?
Fuck. Yeah,
Whatever
you're probably
time
gonna
I
need to go
texted
take
you.
a 9 to 10 o'clock my time, so 11 maybe. Your time.
Yeah.
11 your time, 10, 11 your time.
Okay, I was so confused what I asked because I was still thinking about what just happened there. Just gotta make sure this works. Okay. All right, it still works.
Yeah. And Rebel's in the chat. Hey, Rebel.
All right, but
Okie dokie.
yeah, we just came off the back of a 5-hour stream while we were watching all of the casting announcements for Avengers Doomsday, possibly parts of Secret Wars. Excuse me. And yeah, they were pretty exciting. A lot of exclusions. No Guardians, no Doctor Strange, no Spider-Man.
Yep. No
Lots of
Wong.
X-Men, though.
That's a big hit. No Wong.
Yeah. Well, no Doctor Strange, no Wong.
What about we're probably also not going to get that guy who told Spider-Man to do a flip?
He might show up. We don't know about he was in Shang-Chi.
What was his name? Clev?
I don't know the character's name. I know the actor's name is.
He also showed up
Zach
in
Cherry. He's in Severance.
He's a big star now in Severance,
he's in
Fallout.
Crashing. Yeah, he's in Fallout. He's in
he's Woody in Fallout. Yeah. He's doing well. I'm proud of him.
Yeah, he's great. He's come a long way from being just the bouncer in Crashing.
So let's see. Commentator Evo Goji says that ending to Born Again episode 6. God damn.
We will get there. We're gonna go through the episodes chronologically this time, though.
Let's go. Let's do it. First off, Zach,
we had 2 episodes last night.
Yeah, we got a double dip from Marvel here.
So first of all, let's talk about episode 5. I heard ahead of time that it was going to be the shortest episode, which is why we got the 2-episode premiere tonight.
I didn't understand that initially, but after seeing it, I'm like, oh yeah, it's because they definitely wanted to do this bottle episode kind of.
Well, my theory is that it was the reason they did that is because this was part of the show prior to the creative overhaul.
Really, this whole setup,
was episode.
Part of the.
It feels because what we know about the creative overhaul is that they didn't really acknowledge the Netflix stuff, and my dog just fell asleep behind me and snored really loud.
Frankie.
But what we knew about the creative overhaul is that it was more episodic, procedural based, rather than being a serialized story.
Okay.
Which, you got to give me more than just okay.
Oh, I thought. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
No.
I was gonna give my things at the end. You were gonna dictate it to the audience, and then I was gonna react. That's how we do it. This is back and forth.
But sometimes I don't know when you're gonna actually like cut in and say something, or when you're just like, okay.
You just sounded like you were gonna
yeah, no,
splay it out.
I'm still
and then...
talking, but you cut me off, and I wasn't sure. But what I was saying is, what we knew about the show beforehand was that it was more episodic, and it was a lot more like episode of the week was self-contained stories, and that is what we saw with a lot of the episodes we've had so far. Most of them were pretty self-contained in their own episode, if not a 2-episode arc. And then episode 5 was clearly just like, oh, we have this great episode, and we could slot this into the new series, like, seamlessly.
Okay, all right, there we go. Yeah, it definitely felt like... it definitely did give that a bottle episode feeling compared to the rest of the series. We did not cut to Fisk at all. We did not cut to anybody else. There was no B story. There was nothing. It was just Matt being in the
it's practically shot in real time.
Yeah, practically. You could see like the little timer underneath, like it's an episode of 24. Also, surprising that like Daredevil has fast forwarded to it's March. St. Patrick's Day is when the bank robbery takes place.
If you look at the episodes that we've had so far, so episode 1, the prologue was in like 2026. Or 2025. It was late 2025 was when I figured it happened. We jump a year to late 2026 election season. Episode 2, New Year's Eve, start of the episode. By the end of episode 3, who knows when it is? It could have been, we had an entire trial.
Probably going to take a couple of months for something like that, especially considering it's a murder trial.
Yeah.
And those things usually take months at a time, unless they're really trying to nail that guy down.
So end of March makes sense as far as when we got to the show, or like where we are right now. The timeline makes sense to me.
It's just a little surprising to me because, like, in most Marvel shows, they don't usually dictate the passage of time. For all we know, all those adventures could take place in a week, which is what She-Hulk felt like, because I think he said it was like a week or a month or something.
No,
but Daredevil,
She-Hulk is like an entire year and a half.
Really? It does not feel like that.
It does, though. It's different court
It feels like
cases
case after case. It feels like it's a month and a half for her.
Well, because it's done episodically. It's not really as serialized. There are a bunch of events that happen that take a lot of time in the real world.
Right. Especially her meeting up with Matt, and Matt still hasn't talked about that, but like no character has really pressed him.
Did you? Was I sending you those comments I was getting?
Some of them.
Somebody was like, "Oh, this episode was terrible. The writing was bad because why would Yusuf Khan not be asking Matt Murdock how he could do that? Why wouldn't he be asking him that in the middle of a bank heist?"
Yeah,
like, hey, wait, stop what you're doing. Tell me why you can do these things. No normal person would do that in the middle of a high-stakes, time-sensitive situation.
Especially when you have bank robbers pointing guns at you, you kind of just forget and you just go with whatever you think will help you survive in the moment.
Yeah, that's literally what it is. But also there's the line in there, what kind of lawyer are you? A really good one. Like, it's a callback, but also it's like them answering that question, basically. Like, he did ask him, like, how can you do these things? He asked in a very different way.
He did, and Matt did that usual thing where he just glided across of it. He's like, I'm a really good lawyer. And then he moved on. That's it.
Yeah. And that's all we needed. But we also have... We had, as I have already mentioned, Yusuf Khan, Kamala Khan's father, is in this episode.
Talking about Kamala every other half second. He's just like, my daughter, my
as
daughter.
A proud father would.
Yeah, of course he would. He's definitely a proud Pakistani father, and I know those guys.
But also, Matt he 100% knows that Kamala Khan is Miss Marvel.
I don't think he does.
I think he put that together pretty early on.
Does he just keep tabs on all the superheroes then?
No, I'm not saying he kept tabs. I'm just saying the way that... I'm saying he probably... That was his first time hearing about Miss Marvel. But also, his first time hearing about a person who exists very close to him. And... what was I saying? It exists very close to him, and he's just like, oh, this person has a name now? Like, where did that name come from? All right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
But he can tell when somebody's lying, so he could definitely tell if Kamala Khan is... he's like, oh yeah, this guy, when he talks about Miss Marvel, his voice is the same as when he talks about his daughter. His heart rate is the same as when he talks about his daughter. Matt Murdock is just very perceptive.
I forgot. Does Yusuf know that his daughter is Miss Marvel, or?
Yeah, he knows.
The
whole family knows.
Cool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because you haven't seen the show or the Marvels.
I have seen first 3 episodes of Miss Marvel.
It's a good show. You should finish it.
I just kind of dropped it halfway.
It's a good show. You should finish it.
I'll go back and I'll do a retrospective. I know it is, and I feel like I have to go back and finish it. Everything else in the MCU I've touched. I've just kind of skipped over the Marvels for some reason because everyone else did. Anyway, the way Kamala's father spoke about her and Miss Marvel could give Matt a hint.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was going
Zach
with there.
Yeah, just talked about it. Yeah.
And it's, so they're definitely well aware. One of the things he says that I pointed out in my video is that she's in California with some friends. I think that was a little hint at our Young Avengers /Champions /West Coast Avengers team that we're going to be getting.
The question is, like, how are they all going to meet up? like naturally.
What do you mean?
So that's the question. With some of her friends off screen, they're probably setting up some of their relationships. Like, hey, Kamala's like starting this, I don't know, Discord group full of superpowered teenagers or
Arash,
young
there's a
adults.
scene
Like,
in the Marvels that is exactly like it is it. I only asked you that because I was like, he doesn't know about the scene at the end of the Marvels.
I know she was on the farm. She turned over to Carol and she said, "I'm gonna set up like some younger Avengers or whatever." I got the gist
She
of
said
that
something
scene,
about
I'm assuming.
working together as a team, and then it
Uh-huh.
cuts to Kate Bishop in her home, and Kamala Khan is doing the Nick Fury thing where she's sitting there and she's like, "Do you think you're the only hero?" And the two of them are talking it over, and they're just kind of like, "Yeah, you're the only one I've talked to so far." But I mean, like, I heard Ant-Man has a daughter that we could like potentially get involved in this.
How the fuck does she know Ant-Man?
She was with Nick Fury.
Oh, okay. All right.
He
I really
she
do have
has,
to crack into the Marvels at some point.
Yeah, she has his
Okay.
whole like tablet.
God damn, a lot of stuff happened in the Marvels than I thought. I just thought it just kind of nothing really happened in that movie. I'm gonna be entirely honest.
It's a good movie. It's
I'm
a
gonna be
totally.
entirely real
Where
with
did I
you.
put it on my list? I don't know if I have it anymore.
You
I'll
put
have
it.
to
You
look
put
back.
it. Not that great. I imagine. I
No,
think you put it in the
like
didn't
middle
watch.
of the. I think I put it middle of the road.
Benjamin Friedman said the Marvels kind of ask. Not gonna lie.
I think it's totally fine. It's a fun movie.
Okay.
I like the
It's the-
switching places dynamic is really cool. I think it's a fun way
It's-
to do that sequel.
that the rest of Miss Marvel and all of Iron Fist is like the only thing I haven't really seen.
All right. Well, my
Like,
list was my list. Your list can be your own list. That's all I'll say about that.
Okay.
You have different tastes, and that's fine. My tastes are my tastes, though.
You talking to me? Oh wait,
no,
you're
I'm talking
okay.
to chat right now. Daredevil season 2 was way too low. I think you need to rewatch Daredevil season 2 because it's not that good. I think the Punisher stuff is really great in it. All the Defenders setup in it is not good though, because the Defenders is pretty mid.
Little too setup-y for you.
Wait, what?
A little too setup-y for you.
Well, it was all
The
it
Defender
was
stuff?
like the Iron Man 2 of Marvel Netflix shows.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. No. When you say it like that, yeah. No, it makes sense. A little too big for its britches because it got off the first movie, and it's just like, oh wait, we can't just be the carrier of everything else.
Yeah.
And then went back to basics for season 3.
But yeah, so in the episode, it's basically just a bank robbery. Matt Murdock is there, and he's kind of just playing dumb the entire time for the most part. And yeah, that was pretty much the whole episode. Anything really stick out to you aside from what we've mentioned already? We'll
It
get to
looked
the
like they
fight.
were paying homage to the town or any of those like bank robbery movies.
Yeah, it felt like Heat a little bit.
A little bit, right? I'm glad I wasn't getting the only. I was wondering. When I was watching the episode, I was like, I wonder if Zach is like saying if this is like feeling like any of those bank robbery movies that have like occurred over the last 20 years. What was that
What-
one with? What was that one movie? Hold on. The bank robbery movie with that guy from Sin City in it.
He's giving
What was
me
his name?
nothing to go off here.
I-
He mentioned a
it'll
movie
come to
with
me.
a massive cat. He might as well have said that guy from the Avengers Doomsday casting.
Okay, not the town. Hold on, Sin City.
Well, like what
Clive
I really
something.
what is it? Live by
Clive-
Night? The Ben
No.
Affleck one? No.
No, Clive Owen is in this bank robbery movie.
Okay. Clive Owen is in a bank robbery movie. That we're getting somewhere. But
Inside Man?
with Denzel Washington, is he in that movie?
No, that's not it. No.
Well, what I was saying is this is what the Daredevil show structure has felt like to me so far. It's felt like a comic book. It has felt like one issue tells a story. Maybe it has a second part in another issue. the issue after that, maybe it's a completely different like storyline that we're just doing in this one episode. And I think that's where Daredevil Born Again is succeeding, where some of these other shows have kind of missed it. Like, it can have a filler episode because we already have a guaranteed season 2.
Well, also, the episode did serve a purpose. It's still pushing Matt towards being Daredevil. In fact, he did put on the mask at the end of the episode. On a mask.
I agree with you, but I also think that you could watch it completely detached from Daredevil, like all of the story that happened before, and just watch it as like one short film. Like, have you ever seen Punisher Dirty Laundry?
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of felt like that a little bit, where it's just like,
just a little,
you don't need to know that this is Daredevil. Like, this is
an offshoot.
This is just like it's a short action film.
Yeah, and that felt great. And I feel like that's it. With going back to the creative overhaul, they looked at that episode or that bottleneck episode and they said, we can just slip this right in the middle of the season. It'll work.
Which is why, I'm pretty sure it came from that earlier iteration of Daredevil Born Again that they decided they wanted to redo.
Yeah, because the story felt a little... This whole thing with the boss and, like, chasing the diamond... Like, how do you think that's going to pay off towards the end of the season?
Well,
I don't know about
this, it's not going to. That's it. This was just one episode. It was just its own story,
and then completed.
Yeah.
And it added to Matt, like,
it is a character building episode, and Daredevil Born Again can have that. I saw some people complaining because there's only 9 episodes in the season, and it was cut down from the original like 18 or 19. But it's like, no, it can have an episode like this because it was a really well done episode through and through.
Yeah, I liked it. I really liked it.
And then as the episode was coming to a close, we got a little bit of first of all, the stairwell fight with the shotgun was so awesome. I just love
it. Was sick.
One thing that Daredevil always does really well is fight scenes with restrictions, where it's like it creates a restriction for certain characters that add to the stakes, and that's what this episode of the show really had for me, was just building up the stakes step by step, but always feeling like Matt Murdock was in control of the situation.
Oh, the entire time. You could see it on his face.
Yeah. Well, he makes he says something to Kamala Khan's father, where he's like, yeah, the head of the bank robbers thinks he's in control of the situation, and he's not. Like, Matt Murdock is hearing the cops outside, he's hearing the hostages, and he's hearing the robbers.
He was also, he's got the fighting ability to take on all those robbers with those guns. The only factor in there that he did not want to risk at all was the hostages.
Well, and that was another aspect was I saw somebody saying like Matt Murdock would not just like blatantly reveal his identity in front of somebody. That's why I think he knew that Kamala Khan's father or Kamala Khan and Miss Marvel were the same person and that this was her father. He was just kind of like, oh, you know what? I can do some of my abilities. I can use some of them in front of you, and I know you're not going to tell anybody.
Of course.
Yeah.
He made a confidant essentially in that moment, and he just kept leaving little hints. Like, Matt always likes to flaunt a little bit.
But hearing people say that's
he's not afraid of it.
Character for Matt Murdock, what Matt Murdock are they talking about? This isn't Matt Murdock does not like shy away from his physical abilities. He doesn't play blind, like super blind, unless it gets him some kind of advantage somewhere. Like we saw it in this episode where he was just like, "Oh wait,
oh my
what
god,
happened?"
my head."
Yeah. Or I think about that moment. That moment in the first episode of Daredevil where they're out looking for an office and he's having the realtor guide him around. He's always been like a flirt, and he used his blindness as kind of like that way to engage with people.
Oh, and And also making it seem like so people underestimate him when they are very vastly, underestimating him.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
a
he
big
loves
thing.
using that against bad guys, especially. Except for Wilson Fisk, he's onto his game. He knows fully well. He's like, I could be easily beaten by this blind man.
That is the great thing about Wilson Fisk, and we'll get to that when we talk about the next episode. And then we have the fight at the end of the episode. Whoa, that was so awesome. I saw it in the chat before. That leg break, so cool.
That sucked. I was like, ooh, that's bad, dude.
Then another thing I saw was somebody complaining about them using CGI in that fight, and I was just like, why? Like, what problem did you have with the CGI in that fight?
Was there CGI in that fight?
I don't even know. That's what I'm saying.
I don't think so. It was a fairly easy fight to shoot, to be honest. More camera tricks than anything else. I don't know. When people toss out CGI in fights, I'm like, what are you talking about
specifically? It's like when somebody
specifically?
throws out AI as a complaint about something, and it's like they have no idea if AI was used in it.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think CGI is usually used in the Daredevil scenes to touch up a scene. To make it look a little bit more dark and stormy and stuff like that, or behind Matt, or when he's swinging with his billy clubs, because obviously, easier to replicate that than to like build out an extended set just to make a single half-second shot of him using his billy clubs.
But also, I don't know if you've seen it yet. There's the video of Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio watching their most iconic scenes across the MCU together, and they talk about that opening fight scene between Daredevil and Bullseye. And Charlie Cox was saying essentially, like, because they didn't have the Disney Plus budget for the older Netflix series, a lot of that fight choreography was easier to get because all of the choreography was physical and it was happening on the scene. But he said that Bullseye fight choreography was so hard because he had to account for knives that were being thrown at him that didn't actually exist, and how the acrobatic skill that Daredevil was going to have in this show that he also has in the comics just needed that little bit of improvement. It needed to ramp up a bit. And yeah, I'm totally on board with that. Like, season 2 is probably going to have a little bit more care and attention put into it because they didn't have, this was a show that was shot, then reshot, and they had to tweak some things. So some of that budget.
Now that they got it nailed down.
Yeah.
They should be better the second time.
And they'll figure it out. And I like the way they use CGI.
I mean, I have no complaints about Born Again so far. I'm thinking it's one of the better MCU TV shows that have come out.
I agree. And and that kind of... So episode 5 is my favorite of the show so far.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
Yeah, I think it is the perfect Daredevil side story.
It's also like all the focus is on Matt. Like, we have been switching between Wilson and Matt, dealing with their two sides of what they're doing this season, but this entire episode was just focused on Matt, and Matt being Daredevil, and Matt doing his thing, and also pushing him back into the horns.
Yeah, and I dug it. I thought it was super cool.
I dug it. Super cool. Loved it.
Yeah, I hope we get more episodes like that, though.
I do too, where it's just him being a kick-ass fucking hero.
Then we have the more plot-focused episode 6, which I also really enjoyed. Unfortunately, I'm going to pair these two episodes together in my mind for the rest of my life, probably. Because even though they're so different.
They're
so different, but they paired really well together, and I can understand why they released them this way. Because
why did they release him this way?
I think it's because they are the two shortest episodes of the season so far. But also, in episode 6, you get a lot of plot with some really good action at the end, which we'll get to. And episode 5, like the pacing of it, it's just constantly moving. So episode 6 begins, and we get, first off with the BB report in the episode, we get the return first time we're seeing him in mask, the swordsman. We get Jack. I'm already blanking on his last name.
Some fancy dandy name.
It's French.
It's a Yallo or Lalo. No, that's another character he played.
Duquesne. Jack Duquesne. Yeah. Played by Tony Dalton. And I really liked him in Hawkeye as like the throwaway, like, this guy's definitely a villain, and then he ends up not being. Like the misdirect.
Yeah, he's like trying to be a really good stepdad.
He was, and I was like, all right, it's kind of sad that this is probably going to be the last time we see him, and I'm glad he showed up here. I hope he doesn't die, because I want to keep seeing him.
I also hope that he doesn't die, but he's messing around now in the underworld, and that's particularly
well, he
that
was
space
before,
of the
though.
Marvel universe where you. I mean, yeah, but he's messing around with Kingpin now, and if he
before.
turns out a little bit more,
Okay.
at least now it's the central. It's essentially to the plot instead of just
but, like,
Kingpin being revealed.
No, this isn't
in
just
Hawkeye.
in Hawkeye. Kingpin wasn't just revealed. In Hawkeye, Kingpin was setting up Jack to be framed for all of Eleanor Bishop's crimes.
Really? Oh, I didn't remember that part.
Yeah, he was
like a
being
minor part.
framed by. No, it was a pretty major part of that show.
I don't remember that part. All right, Zach. I just remember Kingpin getting shot.
Yeah, so he
Have to rewatch it.
he kind of has a personal vendetta against Wilson Fisk at this point because of that, and I'm glad he's suiting up as a vigilante. It's really cool to see he's kind of acting as a Batman type figure where he's a wealthy socialite, but also he's going around fighting crime on the streets.
I saw where he was fighting crime on the streets. Yeah, he's not exactly using the best of his time. He was like fighting some dudes in a basketball court
He was
with a t-shirt wrapped around his head.
he was like using his fencing foil.
Yeah.
And he was just scaring off a couple thugs. Or
What is he doing, dude? He could easily like.
What is? Oh no, it's henchmen and goons. Those are the two things.
Yeah.
Daredevil talks about in She-Hulk. We are getting an episode next week.
Henchmen are true believers. Goons are just hired thugs.
Yes.
That's what he said.
A couple of goons in the street. We are getting one episode per week until the 15th.
The series finishes. Yeah.
Yeah, the season finishes. We still got season 2.
Yeah. The season.
And then there's a
Finishes
2-week break. Actually, there's only like a week and a half break, and then we get Thunderbolts.
Oh fuck! I forgot about that. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Head over to the theater.
It was awesome to see him again. I liked. Well, the part I really enjoyed is the dynamic where he is this wealthy socialite, but also he very clearly wants to make positive change, which I think is an interesting dynamic because there's also people in that at that event who are very much not interested in that.
The usual wealthy socialites who believe that Kingpin should be bowing down before them.
Yeah, exactly.
He's the elected mayor.
He is
of the city.
They make it very clear that they could have him kicked out whenever they want.
And he doesn't like that one bit.
No, he doesn't. And that's totally fine.
Considering he was formerly a mob boss who, when you had another problem with another mob boss, you took it.
This is an episode about breaking points, and I loved it.
Yeah, okay, go off, Zach. You seem like you want to go on.
All right, so first of all, we had the return of Angela, who is Hector Ayala's niece. She's trying to continue investigating where White Tiger left off before he was murdered. And she's investigating what we're now referring to as the Muse serial killer. And meanwhile, Wilson Fisk is trying to keep that under wraps and forming his own special task force of the worst from the NYPD.
Body cam off officers. Yes.
Yes.
Corrupted officials. Isn't this part of a Dark Reign storyline?
Maskless.
But
yeah,
like,
that's what they're doing. That's what all this is. Maskless vigilantes is what he called them, which is that goes so hard.
it does. It does.
But we're gonna see some. I'm glad. I was a little worried how they were gonna use these two storylines, but it does feel like the Punisher copycat storyline got kind of steamrolled by this Kingpin putting together his own task force.
I was kind of hoping that they were gonna.
It could have been one or the other.
Like he, at least make a reference to. Sorry, at least make a reference to it. But it looks like the Punisher logo's just disappeared now entirely. Well, except for the painting that Muse did in the.
Well, no,
I
don't know if
episode.
it will though. I think they're going to use that symbol. Because
they're going to use that as their anti-vigilante source?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like that variation of it that they've been that they had tattooed and that we saw painted.
So do you think that they're going to be wearing those out and going out, and Punisher's going to have to be like, all right, we're not doing this?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's where the story is going, which I'm glad that they're tying them together this way. I think it was a little clumsy to be like they existed already and Wilson Fisk is now taking control of them. What do you think?
Do you think he should have just? Do you think that they should have just set them up and then they co-opted the logo?
No,
and then had Frank come in.
No, what I was thinking is you have these cops that are pushed too far to the edge of disliking vigilantes. You have Kingpin, who is also in the same mindset. An event such as White Tiger comes along, and you get Kingpin to kind of be like, all right, let's outfit these guys. Let's give them some assault weapons. And you know what? They're also going to start wearing the symbol of a different vigilante. And we'll see where that goes. But yeah, that's the main focus of the episode, is kind of tying those two stories that started in earlier weeks together, finally.
You think that a lot of people are going to take that Wilson Fisk speech and like look at it the wrong way? Like people who are saying Thanos was right?
I mean, those people already exist out there.
I know they do.
I don't want to get too far into talking about that, but
the weeds.
Yep.
What do you think they'll do with Bullseye?
What do I think they'll do with Bullseye?
He was in the midweek trailer, right?
He's
gonna show up.
Pulled out one of his teeth.
Probably gonna spit it out and use it in a way.
Yeah, he's gonna escape from prison. I'm wondering if that means we're gonna get a comic accurate Bullseye costume too.
I also wonder if that means that Matt's finally gonna get pushed to his edge, because if he escapes from prison, and Punisher was like hinting at it, he's like, "You wanted to kill him, didn't you?"
Matt's not gonna. He might try, but he's not going to, because that's just, he doesn't kill people. He's not the bad guy,
He already did it. He already attempted it once.
He attempted it, but it didn't happen. So he stopped being Daredevil. Now he's pushed back into the suit, which is the main point of this episode. So Matt Murdock has finally broken his vow. He's put on the Daredevil suit again after a year and a couple months. He's going after Muse to save Angela. Meanwhile, Wilson Fisk is trying to fit into the wealthy socialite scene, try to play the politics. But what's the first thing you notice about, or he says when he's getting ready to go to that thing? His suits aren't fitting the way that they were.
Yeah. I saw two.
He's like an egg right now that's hatching, and it's just filled with the Kingpin, and he's desperately trying to escape. So what does he do? He goes to kill Adam.
I saw two people. I saw like two discussions here. One person was saying the more realistic approach where he just kept going downstairs and eating those succulent meals in front of Adam, and he's getting a little too big for his suits now. But there's also that I think Screen Crush said it when we were like, looking at other discussions online, where they said that he doesn't fit into this world, so he's not fitting into his suits.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at. He is like he is not. He's like werewolfing basically. He is breaking out of it. And this was the episode where both Daredevil and Fisk are born again. Which I think I've said about every episode so far, but this one I meant it.
They are now born again this time. The sixth time in a row. They've been rebirthed. Well, essentially, they're just going back into their old ways of life, but they're born back into those roles.
Yeah.
They attempted to change. They couldn't change.
Spider-Man is not going to show up in Daredevil Born Again. He legally cannot.
Legally cannot. And that's more binding than...
Yeah, I have to say that.
That is more binding than anything.
I have to say that quite a bit. I had to say it during our live stream a few times. He legally cannot appear in the show.
Legally cannot because
Sony needs to go away, so we could do that though.
We can get Spider-Man showing up in TV shows, yes.
And Tom Holland's schedule needs to clear up a little bit, but
yeah. Could you actually hold on? I'm gonna.
What is he doing? What? I can't see what he's doing. What is he doing?
I was just texting my mom. She was calling me.
Oh.
Yeah.
You were like
asking
wrap up
me,
this
discussion first.
Oh, yeah. Well,
yeah.
How long have we been going? We've been going for... It's hard to tell because we were going... We're
about 48 minutes now.
48 minutes? Okay.
We usually do about an hour on these things.
Yeah, but I felt like there wasn't a ton to talk about with these episodes because they were on the shorter side. A lot of action in the first part. Well, we do have to talk about the Muse Daredevil fight. Yeah.
Well, also Kingpin and Adam, like the heck that whole thing was.
It was cut together. It was like that parallel between, Daredevil or Matt Murdock becomes Daredevil again. Wilson Fisk becomes the Kingpin again.
Mm-hmm. And they both intercut with their vicious fights against like the other that they've been like trying to go towards, and that was very like purposeful on the filmmaker's part.
It was, and there's one distinction between the two, is that Matt has the opportunity to kill Muse or save Angela. Wilson Fisk has the opportunity to save his mayoral run or kill Adam. And they both make a decision there going in opposite directions.
Well, he didn't kill Adam. Not necessarily.
Well, no.
You still see him breathing.
Yeah, I know. We still see him breathing, but I'm saying he could have made that final, there was finality to it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And he was just sitting in the light, like, smiling, because he finally felt like himself again. Have you noticed throughout the entire season that he felt a little off? Well, he was just like, this doesn't suit me.
He's been that's been exactly it. He's been like contained.
Uncomfortable, contained, even though that's not Wilson Fisk. Wilson Fisk is this violent mob boss. That's where he feels more at home. But then doing all this mayoral stuff, trying to deal with the bureaucratic nonsense of being a government official, trying to deal with like having people tell you no, people thinking that they're better than you without you being able to touch them in any way. He doesn't like that one bit.
I'm glad I wrote this down because I would have forgotten about it. But what I was trying to get at with that comment is that Wilson Fisk has two choices in that moment. And he's kind of like, coming back to that episode 1, like coming to terms with your violent nature. He tries to feed it by nearly killing Adam. He doesn't do it though because he's still like trying to preserve that facade that he is like this great. He is no longer the Kingpin. He's a changed man. He beat Adam nearly to death, and then what do we get? He lets him go, and he's just kind of smiling there. He is like, he's gotten his fix, basically. and he's going to move on.
Oh, it's like somebody relapsing. He relapsed
It's
on
like
being
somebody
a violent criminal.
relapsing, but it's not going to be enough. He's going to have to go back and kill him at some point.
Well, he already. So, in the world of serial killers, which I do paint in my Muse video because I kind of look at the serial killer aspects of him. Don't worry, it's deeper than that. But there's a certain section when serial killers go off and do their crimes, where when they get away with it long enough, they go into this berserker mode where they get sloppy and they start getting caught. That's what it's called. So Kingpin doing this little bit of violent action of relapsing, he's gonna fully go back into it, and then it's gonna spill into his political world.
Yeah. Well, no, that's exactly what's happening here. Kingpin was confronted with like, and he talks about it with Vanessa earlier in the episode where he's just like, there are some things about being a criminal boss that are the same as being the mayor of New York, and there are some things that are very different. And this situation he's in was a moment of powerlessness, which he hasn't had in a really long time. Even when he was in prison, he was still in power.
Yeah.
And now we're at this point where, that violent nature is coming through. Muse, I'm not sure what they're doing with Muse still, because I do hope they keep him anonymous. I don't want him to have, like, a secret identity.
I went into that in my Muse video that is set to come out after we figure out all the stuff for it. In it, I talk about the fact that Muse is essentially a Banksy, like an anti-capitalist,
That's where he comes.
The messages are very clear in Daredevil. I say it's it's most overtly political piece of content that Marvel has actually pushed out so far. To be entirely honest with you, and it doesn't matter what Muse's identity is. It's not going to be some Scooby-Doo moment where, oh my God, it was Tony Stark the whole time. It doesn't matter. What matters is what he does. And he is essentially like, he's two sides of the same coin. He's like Daredevil in that way where him and Muse do not like Fisk. It's apparent in his artwork.
Yeah.
They like the same stuff. But Muse is going about it a very different way than Daredevil is. There's duality there.
Yeah, and I think the thing is, I one of the most powerful moments in the show so far was Matt making the decision to save Angela, because it felt very, very on point with his character. His ability to do it, though, is going to make him see that being Daredevil is more than just being, like, violent. Like, it gives hope to people. The way when she was revived, she was relieved to see him. And it was probably one of the first times somebody has had a reaction like that to Daredevil.
In a while.
In possibly, like, it could possibly be ever. Like, think about that moment in The Batman where, that's basically the plot of The Batman, where he's symbolizing justice where he should be symbolizing hope. And that was kind of the moment I got out of this, was, like, Matt Murdock realizing that Daredevil can be more than a symbol of violence and aggression. He could also be a symbol of hope.
Symbol of hope, something that people look towards because the corruption of the city is getting a little too aggressive and bloody. And Muse is painting that all over the city with, like, innocent people's blood. And Matt being there to at least restore some sanity, because a mob boss is now the mayor of New York. Corrupt cops are running around killing vigilantes. Like, stuff's not getting great, and people on the BB reports are, like, because they have to keep checking in with, like, everyday New Yorkers, and you can see they're getting increasingly worried about what's going on.
But also, I think it's interesting to use the BB report as kind of that, like, this is what the people of New York City think. And I'm just thinking, like, well, what is she cutting out of these?
Yeah, what is she,
like, how much of this is,
what is she leaving on the table? How much of this is journalistic bias?
Yeah, and I think that
what's her game?
I think her game is to bring Fisk down. something tells
Ultimately?
me. I mean, something tells me she is well aware of what happened to she's Ben Urich's niece, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
BDR.
something tells me she's well aware of what happened to Ben Urich.
And
Because
hence,
there's a moment when she's first interviewing Fisk where he says something like, "I knew your uncle," and she kind of like tenses up a little bit. Which that
oh
could
yeah,
just be me reading too far into the scene, but she does seem very uncomfortable with Fisk. As soon as I don't know the character's name, Michael Gandolfini's character is out with her, and he leaks that information to her. She immediately posts it. Immediately.
immediately. I realized that because I was like, who the hell leaked it? Oh wait, yeah, she was there. Of course. Then again, why would you also? She's a journalist. Why the hell would you leak that kind of information out there?
They were, I think they were college friends or something. They
They were just
said something
drinking,
about that.
like, yeah, and she's a journalist, and he's working with the
He
current
was drunk.
political mayor. Okay, all right, I'll give him that. I
Dude
guess.
was trying to get his dick wet. Come on.
All right, okay. We're going right back to that. Yeah, okay. Didn't Fisk say that it was BB's coverage that helped him in their first meeting?
He did, and that was what. But that's the thing is that BB Urich. you think about that conversation with both of Fisk's assistants. One of them wanted to go to the New York Times. Michael Gandolfini was pushing for BB Urich because she speaks for the people, which is who Wilson Fisk is trying to appeal to at this point. The New York Times does not speak to the people. That speaks to the elite, who Wilson Fisk cannot get a grasp on. And we saw that in this episode.
Oh yeah, they immediately dismissed him.
Well, because they know who he is. It's easier to cover your tracks in the general public if you're making an effort to do good, to like redeem yourself. It's harder to a group of people, a smaller, tight-knit group of people who already know who you are. Which, like, how long has he been ruling New York City, basically?
Like as the underboss or as the mayor?
As the underboss.
Years at this point.
Yeah, over a decade. It's been a decade since the first season of Daredevil.
Yeah, so everyone knows who he is.
Yeah.
Well, everyone in the underground.
All right, but I think that wraps up our discussion, unless you had anything else to...
I think so too, but I also think that no, they're in videos that I'm already about to post, so if you want more of my thoughts on the episode, I guess it's there. But really good episodes. Can't wait for the final two.
How about we rank the
Final
season episodes of what we think about all of
So
them?
far,
Yeah.
I'll give it. Let's say, I'll give it 5 at the top right now for me.
Yep, I'm there with you.
Then 6.
Ooh,
then
6
1.
is number 2.
Yeah, 6 was pretty great because like everything was coming to a thing, like all the whole Born Again, like all the subtlety. Like I was able to theorize the fuck out of this episode, dude. Like that's when I know I'm like
Mine is
really doing great with something.
5, 1, 3, 6. I want to say this holds up with what I said last week, but I might be wrong. 5, 3, I really liked the court case elements of. 6, really great action. Got the Daredevil stuff going on. I'm sorry, it was 5, 3, 1, 6, 2, 4. I want to say that's my order.
I agree with that order. That's pretty good.
Yeah, but that fight, like episode 5 was just so good. I was trying to organize something while I was watching it because I was just like, all right, this is a short episode. My eyes were glued to the screen.
The entire time because you
Yeah.
didn't realize how. I didn't realize it was over until it was over. I was just like, dang, like this episode went by quick.
It was
That's how you
just a
know when
shorter
TV's
episode.
got you good.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that too.
42 minutes with credits, I think.
I didn't watch the credits. I think mine was
didn't
credits
either,
cut out,
but-
so it was like 30 something.
Well,
30
yeah,
minutes for me.
I just mean like it was 42 minutes with credits, so it was on the
Oh, yeah.
shorter side. But that is going to do it for another week of Daredevil Born Again
Daredevil.
talk. I said I was going to come up with a title for these last week, but
Daredevil discussions.
DD, Daredevil discussion. DDD.
Yeah. DDD.
Daredevil discussion. All right. Thank you so much for joining us, though. Thank you if you joined us earlier today when we were doing the
Thank you very much.
the Marvel Avengers Doomsday cast announcement
Surprise
stream.
Cast announcements.
That was a lot of fun. It was.
We're
it was a good
both
time.
not like we were both not ready for. I didn't realize it was happening till I woke up.
I had a video that was in drafts. It's uploaded now, but it was sitting in the drafts and it was stressing me out while the announcements were happening. But you know what? We had such a good time with the stream. Thank you all for joining us. We'll see you
guys.
next week, same time, for another Daredevil
Same
stream.
place.
And Rosh, you'll see everybody tomorrow. Well, I'll be there for the beginning of the X2 stream tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow on X2. So thank you so much for joining us. Have a great rest of your night.
Have a great night, guys. Bye.